this is our R24-5 steamer, atmospheric convection steamer, standard, you know, to the industry. This is our 5-pan, we have a 3-pan unit. Now, you know, with steam, any steam equipment, anything with water, you have filtration and water treatment issues. It's something that we all have to deal with, and it's hard to get the end user sometimes to do it properly. We wanted to come up with a solution to make it as easy as possible for the end user to utilize water treatment, and we came up with our True H2O system. That's what's down here.
Oh, filter.
Yeah, it's actually a 2-stage water treatment system. So this was our old one. You can see how big and bulky it was. This is the new one. It's streamlined. It's 2-stage. This is a carbon filter stage, and this is a citrine, which is a patented citrus-based chemical. It's completely food safe. You can eat it. It's like a powder, and it's based off of orange citrus. And what it does is it actually produces negative ions that bond to the minerals in the water that causes lime and scale buildup. So it prevents it from it bonds to it before it can bond to the unit. And let me show you how difficult it is to change this. A quarter turn to the left, and it pulls right out. It's completely built into cartridges. You got 2 cartridges. When you buy the unit, it comes with the first 2 included. It has an LED screen on the front that's audio and visual. It is good for 10,000 gallons of use, and when it needs to be replaced, it will let you know. These are patented, and they
wire activated.
They don't. You don't have to shake them. Yeah, no. It's made by Terry LLC. We have a partnership with them. We're the only manufacturer they work with in the food service industry. So it's a really great product, and then you just put it back in, and then twist to the right, and you're done. I mean, it can't be much simpler.
That's pretty simple, yeah.
And then actually the water lines are all laid in stainless steel channels in the back in a scissor brace. So when you open and close, it's in the channels and it can't kink. So it will never kink, you'll never have a problem even if you pull it out really fast. And then just hides back away, it's all built in. You can get a single unit, you don't have to get a double. It's available on any of our counter steam with autofill. So that's one of our new products. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, right.
This is something relatively new to South Bend. We launched it last year. It comes out of Europe, Portugal, and Spain. I've seen a lot of it in high-end restaurants, especially with sous vide cooking.
Right.
What it is essentially a graduated grill top. It's raised so you have a multiple 3-sided trough. I'll lift this up, it's heavy, but there are 2 burners in the front. So in the front,
your highest heat,
900 degrees, and as you move back, it actually cools down, so you can sear and then hold food on the plate. And it's a very versatile piece of equipment for searing.
Is this in a countertop model or on?
No, we make it on a modular top. It's in our Platinum, so you can have it as a countertop, or you can have it over any of our Platinum oven bases, cabinet base, etc.
That's interesting.
Yeah, even refrigeration, actually. It's really cool. It's a very unique unit. As you can see, this is an example of some of the sweet capabilities we have. Pretty much in our Platinum, if you can dream it, we can build it. We try to ask for any custom work because we want to become more of a custom design type range line.
Okay.
And order more flexibility and customization with our units. If you guys want to see.
I love it.
We finally at South Bend got induction.
I love it.
We got induction. I'm real excited about it.
I love the fact that it's a full slide.
Yep. And we decided we wanted to do modular instead of a full top because if one hub fails, you can actually replace just that hub. So for servicing, if it's a full glass top, you got to replace the whole glass top to fix one burner.
Right.
So this is much easier to fix if you like. You can put it on a true vection base or a refrigeration base. As you know, it's electric. It doesn't need a hood. It's really great. So
it doesn't need a hood?
If it's electric, depending on the application.
Yeah. You put a fry pan on there.
Do I want a hood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But certain places you can get away without it, depending on the application. But they're 3,500 watt hoods. They're very durable. We have a partnership.
500 watt each?
Yes.
Wow. What's it? Pretty strong.
They're 3,500 watts each.
Right.
And they're 90% efficient. So, you know, induction's the most efficient cooking you can get.
Yes.
So, I'm very excited to present this.
I've been waiting so long to see somebody put full cook time, slide across in induction.
Well, we got it one now. So that's...
And they're modular?
Yes. So if one goes down, you can just replace this one.
That's phenomenal.
And you're good to go. And they have digital LED readouts. Let's see if it will work. So you can actually have the temperature and you can monitor it via the digital readout, which is also really nice. So that's this induction unit. Another brand.
You've seen these? So the whole idea, this is what we've been trying to teach for a long time now, is reducing your space in the kitchen, right? So still having a wet well for your soups and sauces and stuff, but putting stuff in a modular holding cabinet allows you to shrink your line, reduce your water usage, reduce your energy consumption, reduce your floor space. It helps you. So we've got consultants doing it. Each one of these pans can be individually temperature controlled. I can use it for either moist or grilled. I don't care. By just pulling out a lid, making some adjustments to the control. Very simple. They're selling more and more to the mom and pops, and even getting into some of the faster casual and the finer dining spots. So modular holding cabinets are not going away.
Didn't think they would.
So excellent thing. Alphanumeric displays, USB, and the whole 9 yards. That's one. Crispin hold. This is the best thing on the market for holding fried products, hands down. Put it away. Plug it in, it works. Why does it work? Because I stop the cooking process out of the fryer. When I do that, I extend the holding time to double. So what does that do for the end user? Less waste, better product quality. What's it do for the customer experience? It improves it. You know, that's something you can't measure. I've got them in a pass-through style design. Whoops. I got them. And built into a counter, so if you're doing buffets, countertop. So it's been a great product for us. Just to let you know, we got another unit that can go faster.
I love this unit. I don't mind saying it in front of the camera. This particular 105 cubic feet. Starts off, it's about 300 pounds or whatever, folds out, telescopic posts with the R39 factor material on, and you're good to go. You can probably get this set up in, I don't know, less than 15 minutes. Within probably another 15 minutes, it's down to temperature. You know, the refrigeration unit, compressor, and everything. So it just folds out initially.
And the folded up is 4x4?
Yeah, absolutely. With the 4x4 is the actual space of the refrigeration.
Sometimes you get into an aspect in a kitchen where you don't know where you might want to put the hose reel. Where you're going to mount it to. You're going to mount it to the wall. You're going to mount it to the ceiling. Mount it underneath the counter. Now we have a table leg option bracket that will spin around, and you can keep it out of the way. And then there is a little pin underneath here as well that you can put it into different positions and keep it locked in that position if you want to. And this is actually a bracket, so you can put any of our hose reel variations on that bracket. So you want a 15-foot, you want a 30-foot, you want the 50-foot, you can put it on that bracket and get it underneath, attached to a table leg.
Carpigiani makes a soft serve unit that works by coin or dollar, like depending on so when you put
that's possible. That is possible.
Add that to this.
Right. So no cashier, but there's a like a.
But anyway, this is what we call dough conditioner.
Okay.
Never heard about it. I understand.
There's a pooper in the market. There's a retard pooper.
Right.
Anything else? No.
No.
So in the bakery, what they need to do is that they need a freezer to keep the dough frozen. They don't want to cook it right away.
Right.
And they need a pooper. So once they're ready to bake, they take it out from the freezer. And then they need to thaw it for
Right.
2 to 3 hours, and then go into the proofing process for another 2 to 3 hours. So human has to be there. People has to be there overnight, like 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. They have to wake up and check the condition and move it around. With this one, has a built-in freezer. So when they have a frozen dough, they keep it in here. You can program it wherever, you know, the crust that they want. If it's like a baguette or it's a muffin dough, cookie dough, like this is cookie dough. You just select what it is, then you select the time, what time you want to start baking. So let's assume like it's 2 days later, 6 o'clock, because tomorrow's a holiday. I don't open tomorrow. So 2 days later, 6 o'clock in the morning, you set it and just forget it. Then it's gonna keep it frozen until the time that it has to be going into the, like a different cycle, and then it calculates all those.
So then it'll freeze, then it'll thaw, and then it'll proof?
Yes.
Wow.
Everything.
All in one?
All in one box. And
This
also,
is great stuff.
not only that, it also controls the humidity inside, moisture level will be governed by the computers. Heat
For the product
plus
that you're
moisture,
making, right?
everything will be in perfect condition.
So then all you have to do is take it out, put it in the oven.
Yes.
Very, very, that's amazing.
And the very best condition, at very best condition. That's
You're right, you told me, you said you were going to show me something amazing. You did.
The new low water energy unit is our standard C24 EA3 for 3-pan and EA5 for 5-pan that we currently offer today, but we added the water saving unit to it. And what we've done with water saving is typically when we are steaming in the industry, we want to get that steamer up to full power as quickly as possible. But once we're steaming, we just continue steaming at the same rate. Then what happens is, when we create excess steam, it goes down the drain. And since it's 212 degrees, we have to temper the water to 140 degrees. So we put in cold water to reduce the temperature. 60% of the water that is used in the steamer is used to cool the excess steam. So what we've done is we put in a device that measures the excess steam. When we start creating more steam than is needed, it goes down the drain. We measure that. We run it through a PID controller, and we modulate the heaters so that we're not making excess steam. As a result of that, we don't make as much steam that goes down the drain. We don't have to quench the water. We actually use 90% less than what we were using before.
90%?
90%. We went from around 35, 45 gallons an hour on a 3 or 5 pan down to 4.4 gallons or 4.3 gallons on a 5 pan and 2.3 gallons on a 3 pan.
That's
huge difference.
Oh, so it's available now.
Yeah, it's available. So the second thing we've done is when you do that and you modulate the device, we improve the energy efficiency, so we hit the tripwire to be able to get Energy Star. So now it's rebatable. Even as a generator-based unit, an a la carte unit, it has the Energy Star rebate opportunity. Make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Whole crew?
Yeah.
Perfect. Have we seen the VTech calculator before that's online?
No.
It's a really cool tool. So basically what it'll do is you can pull up anybody's charbroiler, whether it be this or a different one. Yeah, absolutely. And what you can do is pull up any model, whether it's our traditional charbroiler or a competitor, and there's a drop-down box, and you can pull it up, hit that, put the hours of operation, you know, whatever thermal cost in whatever area you're looking at, and it'll show you how much gas savings you'll have for this unit. And it can be upwards of almost 50% gas savings a year, which is thousands of dollars, and actually pay for the unit. A lot of times it's paid for in a year and a half, depending on whose model you're using against it and that sort of thing. Now that being said, which always gets everybody's attention when you show them exactly the dollar amount they'll save, is how it works and how it functions. So a traditional charbroiler, which is right here next to it, you'll see inside, and I'm sure you've all seen charbroilers before, where
Cast radius.
yep, which is the quality you want, and we actually have burner walls in ours that helps, but traditionally everything plumes in the middle. That's why you have a hot spot in the middle and it's cooler on the outside. Depending on whose model, it can be as much as 400 degrees difference between the middle and the sides. So usually you have to have an educated cook that knows to move the product around, because otherwise you'll have burnt in the middle and raw on the outside. So with that theory coming up at the BTAP, we were looking for a charbroiler with better performance and everything else. We've created infrared heat by using a burner box that uses less BTUs. It basically, sure can. So burn, you see along the outside here where the orifices are, that's where the flame is, right?
Want to get in here?
And it's called a burner box. So each section has its own burner box, right? Its own control. What this carbon emitter panel does right here is it creates the infrared heat. So the flame underneath heats this, but it heats it completely evenly. So unlike the traditional charbroiler where you have convective air going past your product and it dries it out, this doesn't. So you actually produce a juicier product with more yield than you would on a traditional charbroiler. The other thing is no flare-ups, because you don't have an exposed flame. It's blocked by this carbon emitter panel. Now the one thing is you sell this, make sure you educate your customers on, this is a consumable. This will have to be replaced over time. It depends how many hours of operations it is. It depends how it's used as far as product. You know, if it's like a heavy sugar you marinade, we found it breaks down a little bit faster. But it will have to be replaced.
And what is that made of?
Steel. It's a carbon steel. You can feel it. It's kind of like got a carbon a coating on it, and it just helps spread the heat better. And what's nice is it's every inch is usable, so you don't have to move your product around anymore because the hot spots and cold spots. From the center to the outside, it's 20 degrees variance, which is nothing.
Only 20 degrees.
20, where you can have 400 a large charbroiler. You can buy it in one section like this. This is a two-section. You can buy one section all the way up to 5. No standing pilot unless you want one, but standard it comes without one. Where you literally turn the gas on, put the piezo igniter, and fires. No electric needed run into it or anything like that. You know, pilots can save you as much as almost $150 a year by just eliminating that little birthday candle, I like to call it. Cleanup on this is the other thing. So on a traditional charbroiler, you get a lot of juices, fats, things like that. The grease trough, it's terrible to clean up. On this, because this is 700 degrees for the infrared, everything that touches it turns to ash. So you have smoke and vapor released from it, but you don't have the flare-ups, you don't have that convective drying. And this is basically a brake that comes with every unit. You can put it in between the grill, or the grill, and will go forward or backwards, and the ash will go down into what I call the ash tray. I don't call it a grease trough because there's really not grease in it. This will be a dry cleanup. You'll take this out and literally just dump it out, and that's how you clean it. This carbon emitter panel never needs to be removed unless you are changing it. It doesn't need to be cleaned or put through a dish pit. The grill, however, that it actually touches, which you can just take out through the dish pit at ice. Sure, it's made out of stainless. Reason being is you'll see it's hollowed out on each, and that's so the heat goes right to the tip, which leaves no sear marks. This outer cavity actually can come out. I don't really recommend it as much. Some people are like, well, I'll take it out and clean it every day. You can. I would recommend taking it out once a week, once a month, depending how your operation works. But it's an option, so it just looks nice. It's pretty simplistic with the gas savings.
Okay, we'll talk about the combi, and I'll try to keep it simple and quick, because I know you guys' time is important. And that's the same thing related to the operator. If you're fearful of something, are you going to use it, or are you going to fall back on what's easy? You're going to fall back on what's easy. So a lot of the times, the combi of it, the operators especially, they get lost in the controls. They get kind of glossed over. They don't know what to do because they don't know what mode to start in. And the modes really don't matter. No matter what mode you go into, you're still dealing with three things: temperature, time, and humidity. So we chose to do temperature, time, and humidity as the only three things that are on the machine. Now this only works though when you turn the temperature if the humidity changes. So how that works is if I'm going to 350, 375 to 325, there's a small change in humidity there. If I want to go back to 375, as an example, I get 375 and I get change in humidity again. If I wanted to change this, I can. What's 375 at 0% humidity? It's a convection oven, right? I'm drying out the product. But watch what happens when I go back to 375. Always in calm, always be calming, because you're always getting that benefit of heat transfer. And then as the product naturally cooks off, it's going to dry out, it's going to crisp up, it's going to do that. And especially if it exceeds the set point from the product, it'll then leave the vent open and really try to crisp up the product. But of course you can change that anytime you want. But it's so fun to be able to show an operator real quickly, if you wanted to steam, go to 212. Automatically changes it 100%. There's not a whole lot of training beyond that. They just want to start cooking, and that's the fun part of the machine. Generally speaking, all the foods that you put in there, it'll work in this sweet spot. But sometimes you might want to manipulate to make it even cook faster or get a better desirable result for that specific product. But in essence, almost everything will cook in this sweet spot setting. Now, even going down to the proofing temperatures, you can proof, you can do some greens, like poach, you have the lower steam temperatures. But it's very simplistic. And it's smarter than it looks though. The simple still has to do everything that's supposed to happen inside the machine, and how that magic works is the same way we check actual temperature just by turning the knob left or right one end in. We can show actual humidity as well, turning the humidity knob left or right one end in. Now that's an important fact because as the food cooks, it changes. So having a machine to be able to control that humidity is really important. So I don't know what it was, 29 or something. As I bring in different air, the humidity will be different based on that different air. And that's what happens inside the oven when the food's cooking all the time. As the heat is being transferred to the food, then the food gets hotter and it starts to release moisture. It starts to release its own humidity. Now inside the machine, this is the fun part for the operator. Again, they love this simple controls because it clicks right away. They can start using it right away without any training. Inside the machine, they have these cutouts here in the middle. This is what we're used to in general, right? When you grab a pan, you stick your hand between
now you can put your hand underneath the tray.
Right, now you're not going to burn your hand with the wire rack above you. You're actually grabbing that pan.
That's just simple stuff.
Yeah. There's so many fun things about the machine. The timer also functions basically. So let's say after 12 minutes here, I don't know what time it was set before, but let's say after 12 minutes, if I set it to 12 minutes and I pull the product out after 12 minutes, typically in a school setting, what are you going to do? You're going to load the next batch of product, right? It's going to be the same product, you're just going to put the next batch in, it should go back to the next time. So when you shut the door, it starts automatically back at that 12 minutes. And if you don't want 12 minutes, reduce the time. Because now the product that was frozen is partially slack, sitting on the table. Now you put it in. That's why the recipes don't work, because the products are always never consistently the same. So they get frustrated, and if they're fearful and they can't manipulate it, they can't reprogram the machine, they fall back on convection mode and steam mode. So less is more, keep it simple. Gas and electric, available right now, stocked in the warehouse. This is made in Louisville, so made in the US, and you can even put it on the convection oven if you want to do it on a convection oven. Questions? Cleaning?
Go in the glass real quick.
So you pull out the glass here, and you can actually do a cleanable part here, but the lights are out of the heat and steam environment, so they're shining into the product, which is really nice. You can actually see the product versus the light bulbs that are in the side or in the back. You can't really tell, especially after they've been cooking for a while. But cleaning would just be turn it down to roughly steam temperature 190, let it steam for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. If you need to just rinse it out with a spray hose, rinse it out. If you need to spray in some detergent, spray in some detergent. But we removed all the stuff that tends to break, all the extra parts and components, and just kept it simple for that operator.
How you use your what?
I was actually just going to grab that.
You can have it.
It's how we use the energy. So typically on a fryer, you have energy goes under the oil, one pass, and goes straight out the flue, right? And so you have extreme temperatures at the back of the flue. They usually come out about 1400 degrees. What we do is we rotate the energy around the oil again. So what we do is we do the one pass, which is typically what you find in the market. Then it turns, goes back by the oil, turns, goes back by the oil again, and then there's two more on these outside walls over here, passes by. And just to kind of put it in layman's terms, how you can tell that, so If it's 1400 degrees typically when it comes out of the flue, when you do the PowerFi 5 pass, it can be like 500 or 600 degrees when it comes out the flue because you're using that energy more.
Right.
So that's what makes it so efficient. When it was released last year, it won the KI award, it won the Blue Flame award, and also was the most efficient fryer when it was released. So what happens, the PowerFi 5 is a high production unit. We then looked at, okay, not everybody needs the Tesla model. You know, if you have a group that's cooking like tortilla chips, they're not doing those batch and batch and batch of fries. It's a little overkill in that aspect. So what we did is wanted to make it a more efficient fryer, but make it more competitive with all the other groups. So it's the 3-pass, which is the one we talked about here, where it goes through once, twice, and then 3 times. Right. And it's available with all the different controls, whether you get down to the manual type controls, or the digital with a timer, or the USB loadable. You can manifold them together. You can do a filtration system when you can use one filtration for the whole bank.
And one manifold drain.
Right, and one manifold. So you don't have to buy a filtration for each section. And you can mix and match. If you notice, these are all different sizes.
What's up, Mike?
Drawer warmer, brand new for 2015, is the new Slimline. Now our regular size cafe, it takes a hotel pan this way. We put a lot of work into it maybe about 2 years ago, revamped the whole thing, made it much more robust. We didn't do it with the Slimline, so for 2015 we decided to do that. I think the best way to show you what we've done is just take this out. This comes out of here. We used to have a lot of moving parts, rails and hung on bearings and things that could fall off. I got a 14 gauge piece of stainless in here, welded to the sides. It's not going anywhere. I got stainless steel bearings. These have a lifetime warranty on parts. I have a 475 degree or watt element that has a lifetime warranty on parts. And as you can see,
Lifetime warranty on parts.
Parts.
That's substantial.
The element itself is wrapped around the outside of the pan. So you're going to get a blanket of heat. You're not going to have any scorching from underneath. That's another feature of it. If you look at this, again, 14 gauge stainless. This is 14 gauge stainless, this frame. This stainless steel tube is bolted to the frame with 1/4 inch 20 bolts. But the key here is it's bolted through the drawer front. So it's bolted to this chassis. So when I'm pulling on this and pushing on this, I'm not doing anything to this. I'm pulling on this itself. So really, really robust frame. And again, same kind of robust legs. And that's a chip worm and a drawer worm. I don't know if you wanted me to go over the features of the BKP right away.
It's available on the not to drop in built-in unit.
It is. And so this is a built-in unit. We'll supply you with a trim kit that will go around the outside of it. You put it in, and you maybe
Yeah. Same unit.
Same unit.
Nice.
Years ago, we had a galvanized, aluminized version for the built-in and a stainless for the regular one. They're all stainless. They come with legs. You don't have to use them if you don't want them. It's the same product. Okay. So, but we supply you with
Yeah.